Good morning and welcome to our Friday show on the mark, where myself and Shaheel, we're going to go through the card with you as best as we can. Just remember, the first race tomorrow is at 1 o'clock. It's not 12:30, so if you get there a little bit early and you think that there's no racing, it's starting a little bit later. 1 o'clock, the first race. The first race is a 990. It's a rating of 0.26 and it's 11 runners. Obviously, the false rail must be completely in if there's 11 runners.
Yeah, there's no false race tomorrow.
Yeah, so no false rails. That's why we got these big fields. And looks like some exciting racing, Shaheel. The first race is a 0.26 990. Yeah. What have you pinpointed as your first selection in the first?
I've probably gone with the experienced horse Zen Zero. He's very consistent in his class, actually, Zen Zero. He's won once, but I remember when he won at 1400 meters, Manuel Nunes said that his best distance is the 990 because he's a pure sprinter. So I'm going to go with Zen Zero. Even last time, like you said, you mentioned in the car, that Captain Gone Wild form is quite strong. So I'm going to go with Zen Zero. And for the places, I do like those two newcomers, Ziggy Zaggy Zugi. He ran 4 times in South Africa for 4 places. He's got good form. He finished close on 3 occasions. You can just look at the winning margin in the column. And for third, probably Sacred Knight. He's been doing well at track work. He's drawn 3, Derek David on board. So I do believe that if Zen Zero fluff his lines, probably these 2 newcomers can cause an upset.
Okay, yeah, I must be honest. I would like Zen Zero as well. Now, I'm just purely on the run on the 15th of June when he ran third behind 7 Colours. I don't know if you remember that race. He was very, very unlucky. And he came out and won his next start over 1400. There was a little bit of a question mark over the 1400, but he did quite well. I do agree with Manuel Nunes. I think that the 990 is his best trip. I'm going to go with Zen Zero as my first choice. 7 Colours, I like this horse. I like the way that he won. And then there wasn't a bad effort last time, but obviously he is a little bit better over the 990. And then unfortunately, Simon Jones' horse is drawn in the bush. On the weights, he's got 7 Colours held. I think he's 2.5 kilograms better off this time. But he's also likes to be pretty well placed. And obviously that draw is going to make it quite tough for him. But first race, I think we're going to agree on our first choice, Zen Zero. Yeah, I'm going to go Zen Zero as well. I think Manuel Nunes will kick off the card in the first race tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Right, let's move over to race 2, and I thought that this horse has really improved since Pierre Strodom's got on his back. Man from Seattle, he's ridden him twice, he's won on him. He was unlucky loser last time when beaten by Overdose. It was a cracking run. The thing with this horse, he's jumping a lot better with Pierre. Yeah. He is slightly slow away, but he's not losing a lot of ground, and I think the 1650 is probably going to be an ideal trip for him as well. I think that he's definitely going to be my first choice, Man from Seattle. He's dangerous. Well, Menelush Venture, we showed his training on Wednesday. Yeah. Oh no, he's training. Sorry, I think it was a barrier trial, if I'm not mistaken. And if you go back and have a look at that last run where he was slow away, he was slow into his stride, he absolutely flew in the straight to get beat just over half a length by the Brass Bell. I think that if he jumps on terms and everything goes well, he's going to be the biggest danger to Man from Seattle. And then my third place will probably be Napoli. He's been pretty consistent, Napoli. He won last time over 1850, probably beat a weakish field. But his 2 runs before that in the 1500s, that wasn't bad racing, and I think that the 1650 will suit Napoli. So that's my trifecta, Shaheel. I'm going Man from Seattle, Menelush Venture to beat Napoli. Do you see anything else in the race?
Actually, I like Man from Seattle too. Like you said, with PS Stradum, he's been trending a lot better, and he's finishing off really strongly, which I do think he'll do again tomorrow. But my second choice would be It Doesn't Matter, because his last run, Man from Seattle had to come and catch him on the line. Listen, he's drawn 3, stable is in form, so is the jockey. I do believe a repeat of that performance. Could he probably reverse that form with Man from Seattle? Remains to be seen tomorrow. And for third, I do agree with you, Menelush Venture. He's been, well, it was an eye-catching run last time. I do think the step up to 1650 should suit him. Let's see how he goes with Akasha Charles on board.
Yeah, my only question mark with It Doesn't Matter is the 1650. Look, yeah, there was a cracking run last time in the 1600. He won a 1600 in South Africa as well. But Ian Mauritius, the 1450 and the 1500s. And, I think maybe the 50 meter extra is probably going to be in Man from Seattle's favour, yeah. All right, so let's go with, Manuel Nunes to win the first, Pierre Stradum to win the second. And let's see how that goes tomorrow. Right, race 3, it's a 1400 meter benchmark 41. And who have I got here? Gunston. That was a very eye-catching performance. They backed him quite heavily first time up to win. And it wasn't a bad performance. Got beat a length and a half by Flower Blue. I know that he was one of your training shots on Wednesday, Shaheel. What do you think? Do you think he could pull this off?
Yeah, I do think so, because like I said on Wednesday, he's a powerful front runner. The way he won in South Africa by more than 5 lengths. He's drawn 4 tomorrow. He's looking very well at track work. If he can get to the front, I do believe he'll take a power of beating, but my first choice would be number 1, Dollar Tractor, one of your training shots. Yeah. Listen, being by Captain Isle, I do think he will stay the 1400. Like you mentioned on Wednesday, that run on the 1400, it was his first run of the season. He was probably overweight, and he got beaten by Boya, who's no little horse. Listen, he's drawn 3. Yes, he's got 61 kgs, but I do think that he'll be in the box seat, and if he's good enough, he will catch Gunston on the line.
Yeah, Dollar Tractor, like Shaheel said, his work has been very, very good. That work on Tuesday morning was impressive. I do agree with Shaheel as well. Like we spoke on Wednesday, I think we can't sort of judge him on one run over 1400. He won at 1200 in South Africa, which is similar to a 1400 in Mauritius.
And being my Captain Al.
Yeah, Captain Al, they just get better and better as well. So Dollar Tractor, I put him down as my second choice. Getting back to Gunston, we never know that second run syndrome.
Yes.
Some horses do sort of need a second run, some horses don't. Dollar Tractor, definitely an obvious choice as well. Who would you put in as your third choice?
Probably Giles Tiger. He's a consistent horse and he drops in class. Let's see how he goes.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I've got down as my third choice as well. Giles Tiger, he drops down in class. He started off his career brilliantly last season. Robbie Fred rated him quite highly, and he's sort of been racing up in 46. Hasn't been disgraced. A couple of good runs, couple of good places as well. He drops back down to the 41 and probably a little bit more competitive in the rating of 41. At the end of the day, I've written on the top here, open race. You're probably going to want to have to load a couple of horses as far as your pick 6 or pick 8 is concerned, and there are a couple of horses here with chances, but looks like if Dollar Tractor stays at 1400, he could be the one, or if Gunston, if he doesn't suffer from that second run syndrome, he could pull this off as well. But keep an eye on number 3, Giles Tiger. He drops back into the 41. Right, race 4th, 1850, benchmark 46. Beaten favourite last time. I was very bullish about the chances of Springman last time. My only question mark was the 1600. But to be honest with you, it was a disappointing run, because if the 1600 was going to be too short for him, you'd probably think he'd be running on towards the line, and he wasn't really. He was just really sort of plodding up the straight. But his South African form is magnificent behind Rainbow Bridge and Double Mint and those sort of horses. What's he had now? 4 runs in Mauritius. He must have found his feet by now. I think that the step up to the 1850 is going to suit him down to the ground, and I think he's going to be quite a tough nut to crack. I just hope he doesn't disappoint us like he did last time.
I've written the same thing actually, because he travelled so well last time, but he never managed to find the turn of foot that he had in South Africa. But listen, he's down in class now. Huh? He's been racing in 51. He's now in 46, so definitely that should help him. The 1850 is definitely a huge plus too. Do you think I can take a chance and banker him?
Well, I'm going to take a chance and bank him, because there are some tough races tomorrow, and I've found 1 or 2 bankers that I'll probably banker in my pick 8.
Yeah.
I normally take a 10% or a 15% perm. That's all I can afford. But I think I'm going to take a chance and bank a Springman.
So I'm gonna do it too. But I do believe his biggest danger would be number 6, Mind Blowing. He's a horse that I really like. He's a mind-blowing horse, in fact. He's a gutsy horse. He's got some good horses now, because he's never raced against these kind of horses. But he's a mind-blowing horse, like I said. He always wins by a short margin. Just shows how gutsy he is. He's never gonna win by 2 more lengths. I do believe he's gonna be right there. And West Coast Warrior for third. That was a very good performance last time against Al Sheba. That was in 56. It's down to 46 now. So my traffic there would be Springman, Mind Blowing, and West Coast Warrior.
Yeah, I've got West Coast Warrior down as my second choice. It's another horse that I think Pierre Stradium's going to suit. Yeah. I think he's going to sort of get him nice and settled, get him balanced. He's drawn 2. Like you say, he drops from a 56. He ran in a cracking third to Al Sheba, who in the next race I think will be hard to beat. So that's quite good form line. I think that Pierre Stradium's going to suit this horse. He hasn't ridden him up to now. But I really think if any jockey is going to suit West Coast Warrior, it's going to be Pierre Stradium. He's going to get him to settle beautifully. He will be running on quite strongly. Mind Blowing, I agree. There's nothing wrong with his form. And then Consul of War, drawn 1. 55.5 on his back. Look, he is stepping up from a 31, 36 and now 46. It is quite a big jump for him, but he looks like a decent horse, and I'd probably put him in my quartets, trifectas, that sort of thing. It is quite a big step up for him. End of the day, I think Springman, I'm going to give him another chance. I think he could just pull this off over the 1850.
Yeah, so it's going to be our first banker for this race meeting.
Yeah, let's talk about our second banker, Shaheel, well mine anyway, Al-Shiba. I just love the way this horse has been winning. I don't think the 2,100 is going to be a problem for him at all. In fact, I think it's going to suit him. I think he came to Mauritius probably a little bit lower rated than what his ability actually is. And yes, he is climbing up the rating. He arrived here a 50. He's now a 60. But I think he's above average this horse. I think he's decent. I like the way he's been winning. His last win especially was very impressive when Darryl got him to settle beautifully and he kicked on nicely. I think the 2,100 is going to suit him. Obviously, the 8 draw could be a little bit of a problem. You don't have much room before that first turn. Well, you don't have a lot of ground before you hit that first turn. So he's going to have him in a position early. And let's hope that all things go well with Al-Shiba. I think he's going to be quite tough to beat. He's dangerous. Well, obviously, he beat Perplexing last time. He's going to be a lot better off in the weights this time. I've been waiting for Perplexing to go over this ground. And, well, he was sort of hopelessly out of his ground last time. And I think with the 1 draw, he's obviously going to be a lot closer this time. I don't think Al-Shiba will beat him as easily as he did. He might not beat him. Perplexing might beat him as well, because he's a top racehorse. This was Perplexing, and like I said, I've waited for him to go over this sort of trip. And then one horse I want to mention, I've mentioned him a few times on our training show, I Travel Light. He's got the blinkers on. His barrier trial with the blinkers was very, very impressive. He's got 55.5 on his back. I'm a little bit confused why Pierre Stratum's not riding him, but he's not riding him. But I can tell you that work with the blinkers was very, very good. And if you go back to last year, remember he got beat a length by Table Bay. That was at level weights. That was over 1850. I'm expecting a big run from I Travel Light. He must be any sort of price. So let's keep an eye on him. End of the day, I think Al-Shiba is going to pull off the hat-trick.
Yeah, I do agree with you. Like you said, he demolished the field last time, and he runs like he will stay the 2,100 meters. What's interesting about him is that he settles nicely now. We think that he doesn't used to do in his first races. And just look at his last 3 races. He's been drawn wide all the way, 8, 7, 7. Now he's drawn 8 again. But like you said on Wednesday, Darryl has now managed to know what kind of a horse he is, and I'm sure he's going to settle him nicely again tomorrow. And if he shows the same turn of foot, I think he can book his ticket for the maiden. For second, definitely Perplexing. He's going 2,000 meters for the first time, but he should stay. Drawn once he should be in the box seat, and if he's good enough, he'll try to come and catch Al-Shiba. And number 5, a horse which I have been waiting to go over grounds, because he's 3 wins in South Africa, but 2 of them has been over ground. He's a top-class 3-year-old. He's Ovation Award. He's been working well. I mentioned him on Wednesday. He's got that featherweight of 56.5, so keep an eye on this number 5 Ovation Award.
Yeah, he's a nice, well, he was a nice 3-year-old until 2 days ago. He's now a nice 4-year-old, and he has got some good form behind Socrat and those sort of horses. So yeah, a horse to keep an eye on. All right, race 6, it is the Golden Trophy. I have to say, it's a tough races. I was looking at the card last night, and I thought, there's an argument for every single one of these runners in this race. So if you are taking a pick 8 or pick 6, I'm going to load this race, because the champion stayer. You can't write him off. I know he's only had the one run this season. He got beat 13 lengths, but he was 7 kilos overweight. I don't think he was. You cannot write this horse off. As far as I'm concerned. Nebula, that was a good win in his penultimate start. The Reset coupling as well. I mean, Dawn Raid, he ran a cracker last time.
Awesome, yeah?
Will probably want to lead here.
Yes.
With 56.5. All right, let's go through our 1, 2, and 3. I think our Emperor, he beat and favoured last time, probably very disappointing. We're probably going to give him another chance. He is drawn 8 out of 8 though, but he comes from off the pace, so the draw's not too much of a difference. Interesting form line, if you go back to the 24th of November last year, when our Emperor beat Dawn Raid by a length. I think it was over 2,100 meters. He is, I think he is 3 kilos better off, if I'm not mistaken. So Dawn Raid a lot better off in the weights this time. So this is why I think that he's definitely got a chance as well. And then the 2 lower weight horses, Overshadow, cracking win last time. Obviously a big step up in class for him, but he beat Dawn Raid, and if you like Dawn Raid, you got to like Overshadow. And Opera Royale, there's nothing wrong with his form over this sort of distance as well. He's won at 1850. He's going over the 2-2 for the first time, but he's got the featherweight of 53 on his back. So, end of the day, Shaheel, without sort of taking away all your glory, because I've just about mentioned every runner in this race. It's a tough race, and it's going to be a very, very exciting race. I've got to ask you, what's your choice? What is your selection here?
Well, I don't know if you remember, my choice last year for the maiden was number 3, 10 Gun Salute. I'm going to give him another chance again, because last year he carried top weight in this race. He had a tough race. He was 3 wide all the way with Robbie Fred and still managed to run third. Tomorrow he's got 59 and a half. He's drawn 2 Nourish Jaglal on board. He's looking much better. His last 2 runs against Cool and White River has been promising. I do believe that he's finding his feet a lot more better this season. So I'm going to go with 10 Gun Salute as my value, but because I was surprised to see him at 8-1 at the opening odds yesterday. So I'm going to go with 10 Gun Salute to beat our Emperor. What I've noticed about this horse is that his 2 wins in Mauritius have been with featherweight. He carries 56 tomorrow. Last time he carried 61. Probably he's a horse that doesn't like much weight on his back, so we're going to give him another chance. And like you said, we can't ignore Enad. His record in this race has been second twice, and then he goes on to win the maiden. I remember in 2017 I was talking to Stephen Arnold. He told me that this horse can win only 1 race in Mauritius, and that's the maiden, and that's exactly what he did. He's won only 2 races till now. So yeah, we can't ignore him. I do think he will be in the top 4, so 10 Gun Salute, our Emperor and Enad.
Okay, well, at the end of the day, it looks like a very tough race, a 6th race. If you get through, good luck to you, or well done to you. We're going to fall. I think for me, there's a bank in the last race. And let's first, before we get to the last, let's talk about the 7th race. It's a 990 benchmark 36. Once again, a tough race, Shaheel. These 990s are tough. Obviously, the draw has got a lot to do with it as well. The Rob Roy form, I would imagine the best horse with the Rob Roy form is probably Captain My Captain. Nourish Jaglal, he's riding on top of his game. Gilbert Reset stable really doing well as well. I'm going to lean towards him. Like I said, the stable's in form. He's got good 990 meter form, this horse, and the fact that he's done pretty well in this division as well, the 36. So I'm going to go Captain My Captain. I like AP Strike as well. He's a very, very honest horse. He always runs a good race. Last time he ran behind Captain My Captain and Freddie Flint, but I'm going to give him another chance. He's drawn 4 this time, and he's a beaten favourite. You can't write him off. And then hit him again, Chuck. Well, he's also got some nice 990 form. He drops down into this division for the first time. He drops down from a 41. Sorry, he has run in 36 before, but there was a 1400. He's benchmark 36 and the 990 for the first time. I think he must have a big chance as well.
Yeah, in fact, I didn't mention him on Wednesday. He's working really well, his horse. Eye-catching run last time, actually, when he finished 3rd to Flower Blue. He looked to be the winner at the 100-meter mark, but Flower Blue just came and grabbed him. His 990 3rd behind Barrack Street was pretty good, actually, because if you put Barrack Street in this field, he'd demolish the field. Yeah. I'm not sure if the 990 is his best instance, but I do think that's the reason why they've put the blinkers on. So I'm going to go with Hit Him Again, Chuck. I'm going to give him a chance. And then for second, AP Strike, the old man, like you mentioned, every horse turned 1 year older yesterday, is now going strong at 10.
Yeah, double figures. Now he's hit double figures, but he's like you say,
an amazing horse.
Yeah, he always runs a good race.
So we're gonna go with him for second, and for third, definitely Captain My Captain. He's been very consistent this season. So to recap, 1, 6, and 7.
Yeah, unfortunately, Freddie Flint. I mean, he looks like he was ready to win his first race. He's been so consistent, 9 runs, 7 places, but unfortunately he was smashed with that terrible draw. He's going to be drawn 11 out of 11, and we all know the 990, never easy over that. One horse I just want to mention, I was very impressed when he worked with the blinkers. That's Captain Falcon. Another horse has got some decent form over this sort of trip, so keep an eye on him. He is drawn 3. He's got one of the better draws as well. So Captain Falcon, I wouldn't leave him out of anything. At the end of the day, Captain My Captain, AP Strike, Hit Him Again, Chuck, and keep an eye on Captain Falcon as well. Right, the 8th race, it's Mr. California Plate. It's a 1600 rating 0-25. It is the lucky last, and I really believe that this horse is going to take a power-beating inauguration. He needed his first start. He was heavily backed last, well, not heavily backed, but he was backed from 11-1 into 6-1. They were pretty bullish about his chances. They were pretty confident that they could beat that nice horse, Captain Gone Wild, and he came close. He came very, very close. And it was a cracking run. I honestly believe it was a lot stronger than what he's taking on today. He is drawn 8, but You know, we're going to have to, well, he's drawn 7 now with the emergency acceptor coming out. Kirsty Ramsamy, he's ridden some cracking races this season. He's also riding with a lot of confidence. I'm going to put my confidence in Kirsty Ramsamy. I'm going to bank her inauguration the last. I just hope, well, I hope I do have a ticket coming to the last race, but if it's only on the number 1, well, I'll just have to hold tight and hopefully he pulls it off. But inauguration, the captain Gone Wild form is very, very good. He's come out and won again. He won very easily his next start, and I think he's going to take quite a power of beating inauguration. Obviously, 8 Cities, you have to respect him. He's been a little bit unlucky. He lost one in the objection room. He's been placed. He's really getting closer and closer to winning that first race. Unfortunately, he's got a bit of a bad draw. And then spun out Manuel Nunes. He's really sort of worked this horse out, and I suppose you've got to respect his chances as well. But I think it's either inauguration or all of them.
All the field,
yeah. I think it's going to be quite tough if inauguration gets beat, but I personally can't see him losing this race.
Yeah, I agree with you there. That was an eye-catching run last time when he finished second, only a neck behind Captain Gone Wild. His South African form is decent because he's beaten Plano de Tune, and we all know how good Plano de Tune is here. He's run against Barahin, who's a superb horse from the Mike de Kock stable. He's now starting to find his form here in Mauritius. The only thing is he has to overcome that wide draw, and if Kirsty can get him into a prominent position, I do believe he, like you said, he'll take a power of beating. 8 Cities, obviously he'll try to pillar to post. If he can overcome that bad draw without using too much energy, he'll be right there. And then for third, probably the old man Spin a Coin. He's number 10. He's turned 10 too. But if he can run into the places, I think Raj Ramjan will be very happy with that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there we go. That's a wrap for us. Bankers show or banker?
I do believe I'll go with Springman and Al-Shiba.
Okay, well, I'm going to add inauguration. In fact, I'm going to take a little leve pile there. Inauguration, Al-Shiba and Springman. I think you probably get about 10, 11 to 1. So I'm going to take that treble. And it's very hard to find a value bet on the card. I know your value bet is 10 Gun Salute. I'm going to reserve my judgment this week. I think it's been quite difficult, but I'm going to stick with those 3 bankers: Springman, Al-Shiba, inauguration. That's going to be my bet tomorrow, and obviously I'm going to play my little pick 10%.
Obviously.
All right, well, there we go. That's a wrap. Thank you very much for joining us. Remember, we will be with you next week, Wednesday, for our Jeu de Galop show, where we're going to talk about this meeting, and obviously we will talk about a couple of horses that we've seen in the training. Remember, tonight at 5 o'clock, we're on Waza FM. Myself, Shaheel, and Raksha will be back there, and we're going to go through the card as best as we can on the Waza FM show tonight as well. Thank you very much for joining us. See you next week. Goodbye.